Hey guys, Sean here, and today I thought we'd look at setting up an animated Dolly Zoom inside Cinema 4D. A Dolly Zoom is typically an in-camera technique where we move towards a subject while at the same time changing the camera's focal length. This is a great technique to enhance a situation or to make it feel more dramatic. Made famous by movies like Vertigo and Jaws, but it's also not uncommon for animations to take full advantage of this technique to assist with the story. And with that in mind, let's jump into cinema, start setting up the Dolly Zoom and see what sort of effects we can get.
You mean zoom in?
Yeah, let's zoom in. Hey guys, so let's have a real quick look at this scene that we're going to be using to create this Dolly Zoom effect. Let me jump out of this camera for a second. You can see I've set up this little town for us with our character in the foreground. Now that's going to be the key with this technique. What you need is something in the foreground as well as the background, because what we're going to be doing is manipulating the perspective between the two. Something I've been able to take away from watching Chad Ashley's videos is him using the layer system to quickly identify things within his scene. Because I was just going for that clay render look, you can make it a bit tougher to instantly identify what you're working with. So I found this to be a great tool to assist with my workflow. You can see I can turn that layer color off and that'll bring us back to our base textures. I'm going to leave our layer color on for this. Now let's have a look at this camera that I've set up earlier. I'm just going to hide them so they don't obstruct our view in our scene. And you see as I jump to frame 0 with our first camera selected, it's got a focal length of 85. This is quite a high focal length, and you can see it starts to flatten out our city a bit. Those buildings at the back are quite big and seem to be a similar scale to the ones left and right of our character. Now if I hit play on our timeline, this camera is moving towards our subject while at the same time lowering its focal length. And you can see those back buildings start to push back and really shrink, and we really get this sense of scale and space as we move towards our subject. So what we're going to have a go at is recreating these cameras in this scene. I'm going to delete those cameras and drop a new one into our scene. Let's look through that, and the first thing I'm going to do is change our focal length. We know we want to start this technique with a higher focal length. So let's change it to 85. Next, what we need to do is shift our camera's position, framing up our little character, just framing up our character into the middle here. Getting a little bit lower on this one. And I think somewhere about here is going to work nicely for us. Great, we can see those back buildings as well as the buildings on either side of our character are looking a relatively similar scale, and that's exactly what we're after here. So now what we're going to do is add a keyframe for the focal length of our camera as well as its position. What I'm going to do is come to the very last keyframe in our timeline. Now what we're going to do is change our focal length to something smaller. I'm going to set this to 50 and add another keyframe. Now you can see as I scrub through the timeline now, we haven't changed our camera's position, but you can see it appears to be pulling back away from our subject, and this is the first step for us. Now while we're on that last keyframe, what I'm also going to do is move our camera. I'm going to track it towards our subject. Reframe him up a little bit. Nice, somewhere about there, looks good. This is going to be our final frame. Now we just need to add a keyframe to set that position of the camera. Now I'm going to jump back to frame 0 and let's have a look at this. We start to track towards our little character in the middle of the street here, while at the same time opening up our focal length. And you can see those buildings start to really push back, and we get this nice sense of scale and size. And it's a really great way to make your scenes feel more dramatic. It's always a bit of fun to take that outside real world knowledge of cameras, bring them inside cinema to enhance your scenes, and it's just a lot of fun to really manipulate and start playing around with. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you again soon. Cheers.